Come to order. Roll call. Everyone is present. We have a quorum. Pledge allegiance to the flag by Vice Chair Workmeister.
Everyone please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is public comments. Members of the public are welcome to address the Commission regarding any items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. No action may be taken on any listed items. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. You're most welcome to provide written comments to the admin person for consideration. Please complete a form any time and submit it tonight, so your name will be called to approach the podium. Make sure that you speak into the microphone. State your name, your residence. Do we have anyone for public comment?
I have one. It's Ron Spess regarding the ADA ramp, so we'll do it now.
Good evening. I'm Ron Spess, 25223 Kelly, Madrid, Lake Forest. And as you recall, we as a group were here last week to talk about the Tamarisk Park ADA. And I'm pleased to let you know that the city, through Doug Erlin and his boss, Tom Wheeler, met with us on February 26th to talk about the concerns of the residents. I think we had probably 15 or 16 people there from our group. And kind of where we are going with this is the city has graciously decided to go back and look at various options for placement of the ramp based upon some of the concerns of the residents. And where we are now is the city is looking at actually doing specs and costing out, doing a cost analysis on the various options. And we're planning on having another meeting in mid-February, at which point you could be invited if you'd like to. So that's kind of where we are. We're very hopeful. The city people listen to us. I think we're feeling like we're going to be able to place the ramp in a better spot and kind of take care of the concerns of the immediate neighbors, but also, quite frankly, be looking at the future, the planning of the new Pinnacles development that's going up there so that there's going to be easier access for your new developments as well. So that being said, that's where we are, and we thank you for your kind attention. And so far, so good. Anything? Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there are no further public comments, we'll go to our next item of the agenda, presentations, Public Works Department, Project Quarterly Update.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. A few things have happened since our report last October. We opened up a really nice sports park. You may have heard about it. Really a premier park, in Southern California. We all know that, but I'm going to say it again and again for as long as I can. I actually hosted a lunch, spoke at a lunch for the American Public Works Association today. I had 62 Public Works officials down there for a tour of the park. You know it's a good park when the City of Anaheim Public Works Director comes up and says, we really need something like this up in Anaheim. So, because they have everything else, but they don't have a park like this. So it is outstanding and really a testimony to, just everybody that participated, the public and commissioners, the council, designers, everybody, and really neat. So obviously that opened last November. We, more importantly to my division, we took over maintenance of it February 1st. So we opened the fields on February 21st. So we've got 1 full month under our belts now, and we're starting to really figure it out. Just like when you move into a new home, right? you've got the nice and wonderful, but you still got your list of things that you want to take care of. So we're taking care of those. Our Commissioner Workmeister, I think, was the first to point out that we don't have lights in the batting cages. So we're taking care of those. Looking at that, a couple other different issues, improvements, neat things that we can be doing to just continually improve things. So we are working through that. That'll probably come up in the next year's CIP, so we can work on ever improving the park. So working on that together. Had a few other construction activities going on, which I'd love to give you an update. The details are in your package. But since last October, we finished the slurry seal up in Foothill Ranch. We also finished the slurry seal of all the parking lots. So all the parking lots are looking sharp now. We're taking care of those. We finished some resurfacing projects. We should be out to bid next week for Saddleback Ranch Road. We've got some traffic calming things that we're doing up there, adding some median islands to slow traffic down up there in Portola Hills. So that'll be out to bid. That should be constructed over the summer. And we also, the traffic signal that's being installed at Rancho Parkway in the sports park, we should get power tomorrow from Edison, which means we'll turn it on next week. You never turn on a traffic signal on a Friday. That's just not good to do for many different reasons. But you don't want to be out there all weekend trying to tweak it and make sure it works. So we'll everything goes fine. We'll be turning that on next week. And we're starting our ADA Phase 7, which is our handicap ramp project. We'll be doing that in the areas of Pittsford and Regency along those. And then Phase 8 money will follow Phase 7. That's what we're using for ADA ramps for the parks, which is what we have earmarked for do the improvements at Tamarisk. And I think Ron summarized what was going on at Tamarisk. We met with the residents and listened, and coming back, we'd shared some thoughts. They obviously didn't think that was the best alternative. Came and told you guys about that, and that's why we share things, frankly, with the residents, so we can get that kind of input, and we go back. And so back to the drawing board, we're looking at 4 or 5 different options, and we'll come back and meet with them and work through that, and then eventually take that back up to the city council for final approval of our plans and specs to fix that. So we should get back to them mid-April, I think is what we're shooting for. And Barker Park, right, the new dog park at Baker Ranch. That's the design's pretty much complete. We're in the trying to acquire all the rights to the properties right now, and so hopefully that will open up later this summer. If everything goes smooth. And let's see. We saw our first design submittal on Village Pond Park this week. So we just a couple hours ago, actually. So we're able to take a look at that and see what they're proposing and what they're thinking for that park, which again will be another terrific park. And I think that's about all the highlights. The rest of our projects are really in the design mode. But if you have any specific questions, I would love to entertain them.
Any questions, comments?
Just a comment. First of all, it's great to see you here.
It's great to be here.
Come back on a more regular basis.
Fair enough.
Okay? And I think you can keep talking about the sports park for a long time because you keep getting these plaques and awards and
Amen.
things like that. And we were furnished with an email today with some information from a whole different group that I'm really personally not familiar with, but there were some award categories in there that I might be looking into again if the sports park could possibly qualify. These are like almost on a national basis. So, and as always, thank you personally and the department for working together and teamwork.
Thank you. It is a great team here.
Any other comments?
And thanks, Tom, and thanks for following up on the lights. And I know it's funny. I was at CPRS last week, and I talked to the RJM guys. They were there, and so they said, "Yeah, we're putting a bid in or something." So hopefully that will happen soon. So that's good. And my son actually played on the field, so he was very excited about that. So the only thing I noticed, we had a closure of fields for rain. And then there was kind of a mix-up, and some of the fields were left open, so some of the kids played. at the sports park. And you know what? It was okay. Heroes, of course, was flooded, but I'll tell you, the drainage at the sports park is awesome. And so I guess what I would ask is, and I don't know who makes the final determination of closing the fields, but since we have staff there, we probably didn't need to cancel the Little League games, because even though it rained the night before, by 9 in the morning, the fields were dry and playable. So I don't know how we go about doing that or who makes those final decisions, but I think this goes back to, I've been kind of preaching that now at the sports park, I think we need to treat it more than just a city park. It's really a recreation center for us, right? And so I think we kind of really need to adjust our thinking as far as how we operate it and how we run it. But no, the field, I was so used to see. We're so used to seeing, the lake at Heroes Park that it was great. It rained the night before. Kids were playing baseball and soccer, so it's a great job. So, and congratulations on the awards at City Council the other night. And your pictures, the picture of the sports park, were up at the conference, and a lot of people were very jealous, and so it was nice to see. So great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, we all know this is a process, and there's going to be a lot of fine-tuning that goes on. So we shouldn't be surprised when things happen that we didn't anticipate. So I want to thank you for being attentive excuse me, and reactive to these items. Thank you.
One odd comment onto what Commissioner Workmeister said. This is a whole new ball game, no pun intended, with the sports park. Just from experience, coaches always want to play. Leagues always want to play. And no matter how good the drainage is, there's something called underneath what you see. And I think with something like the sports park, the last thing hopefully anybody would want to do would be to wind up, because of multiple use, when it looks good, to tear it up. So I think it behooves, like with a lot of other things that we will do, and like Commissioner Scherr said, it's a work in progress, to develop a policy that somebody, obviously not affiliated with any of the sports leagues, makes those decisions and then makes a call. And then it's real easy with staff on-prem to put out field close signs and to maybe either communicate with the leagues or put it on a website or where teams and people can check in, that it's not a, well, that one looks good and this one doesn't, and things like that. So I think one of the things we really want to do is to preserve that crown jewel up there.
Yeah, and Jim, I understand what you're saying, I think we're talking about a couple different things, and I think what I'd like to see is just a policy on how we're going to do it. I think it can't just be, well, it rained, we're going to close. I think we need to inspect the fields, because the fields here are not multi-use, they're individual sport use, right? And so when we talk about, for example, baseball fields, we close baseball fields because of the dirt infield, right? There's not enough play in the grass areas generally to make it. But again, I think this is a good discussion, and maybe we can bring it back at some point to figure out how we're going to keep the fields going, because I agree, especially when you talk about soccer and lacrosse and some of the other sports where it's constant pounding. That's a little bit different than, say, the softball and the baseball field. So I think it's a good discussion. I think Rob and I were talking, we're learning, and so I think we keep moving forward with policies and procedures. I just really want to keep pushing that we have a mindset with the sports park that it is our recreation center. It's a city. It's a pretty neat place, and how we manage it. And so I think we're okay. But that's it. Thank you.
I think, to agree totally, it's a discussion that needs to happen. By the same token, I totally agree, soccer fields and lacrosse fields take a different beating than baseball and softball. However, you want to protect the infield, obviously.
Yeah.
If you don't have an infield that's usable, you don't have a baseball game. So it's kind of a moot point that if you want to say we focus on the infield's down, the field is closed.
Right.
It's still the same result. But I think it's worth a discussion, and too many other cities have been kind of wishy-washy, let's get the game in, let's get the play in, to the eventual demise of the facility. And I think that's something we don't want to do.
Thank you. We'll move on to consent calendar. Minutes of the regular meeting of Lake Forest Parks and Recreation Commission held February 19th. There is a change in the minutes where Commissioner Barajas was not mentioned in lieu of Steve Manning. That should be altered on roll call. Thank you. Any other changes on the minutes?
Mr. Chair, the only other item that should be added along with it, that was the first one, was the, lack of any better term, swearing in oath of office for the newly appointed and reappointed commissioners, which happened at that meeting as well.
Duly noted. Thank you. Carol made a note of that. Do we have a motion to accept the
So
minutes
moved
with
with
change?
corrections.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh, should we press the button?
Oh, of course. Press the button if you so choose. Just a minute here. I'm looking for my...
It's to your right, on the other side of your
Ah, thank you. All right. Yeah, I was looking for that. I thought I'd get a bigger one. Yeah. Unanimous? Thank you. Discussion action items. The first one is, and this is very exciting, when it was brought up prior, the Special Olympics update. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm actually going to defer this report to Vicki Blow, our Recreation Manager.
So the item we bring before you tonight is in regards to the 2015 Special Olympics World Games host town opportunity. The report lays out for you that our staff has been working very closely with the staff of City of Laguna Hills to become co-host for delegates for the 2015 Special Olympics Games, which are going to be in Los Angeles this year in July. So the 3 days prior to the athletes going to the Olympics themselves, the Olympic Village, they will be staying in the City of Laguna Hills, and their staff and our staff are working together to make opportunities available for the Olympic athletes and their chaperones to use a sports park for training. We're going to be hosting a special needs adults and teens dance for them, so there'll be some recreational opportunities as well. Also helping them get to and from a variety of places, hotels here, hotels and back, and also they have the opportunity to go to the Orange County Fair on Friday night. So the item before you is just giving you an update on where we are going with that particular event. At this point in time, our involvement in this is staff-oriented. In-kind donations is what we're looking to utilize. We do have a small amount of money in our special needs budget that could be utilized for some of the items, but right now, as we sit here tonight, we already have our bus donated through, bus transportation donated through JFK Transportation, which is the transportation company we use for our teen lounge program. Today I was told we do have some of the meals already donated. The City of Laguna Hills has worked very closely with CR&R to get donations to pay for the hotel and lodging. So people have really opened their arms up wide for us to be able to host the delegates when they do come here. And the ones we were chosen to have come to our city were from Syria and I can't. Thank you, the Cayman Islands. So that's who will be coming to visit before they go down to the games themselves. There are lots of other cities up and down Southern California that are host cities as well. And it's very exciting to be involved in this when you see the commercials that they have for the Special Olympics World Games on the TV, knowing that Lake Forest will hopefully be a part of that. So that's my report. If you have any other questions, I'd be very happy to answer those for you.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
I'm very pleased that you guys are doing this, and I'm very excited now. Do you need volunteers for other things, or?
As we get closer to the date of them coming, we'll definitely have an idea of volunteer list if we do need those, and we would come and ask.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah. So we do know that at this point in time, what we're looking at doing, and we may need volunteers for this, I just thought about this, is we'll be having a special, a dance for them at the sports park that we'd be opening up to our other special needs populations that come to our dances
Right.
we're hosting now. So we may need help for that.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to put
Okay.
me on the list. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's very exciting for the city and for all our volunteer organizations to want to know how we can help. And being an active member of volunteer organizations myself, along with the other commissioners on here on the commission, we step up to do whatever it takes to assist. So we look forward to further reports as to the needs that have been identified.
And as we get closer, we'll definitely have a list of, if we need people, we'll definitely be recruiting. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. Yes.
May I have a turn, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
Vicki, a couple of questions. How many, I'm going to say kids, it's not probably the right terminology, from these two delegations, what do we,
We haven't been given a final list.
approximately?
I think approximately it's going to be about 80. So it's delegates and their chaperones.
Chaperones and
Yeah.
caregivers.
Right.
Okay.
How many was that again? 80?
Approximately 80.
80.
Okay.
And we actually haven't confirmed that the athletes from Syria are going to, we're obviously hopeful that they're going to arrive. Confirm that yet.
Yeah. Would we, if they didn't get another group, or is it pretty much parsed out, and if they don't come?
I think as we get closer to the date itself, I think that they have a better idea if
Yeah.
they needed to shift people around who would be coming. But as you can imagine, traveling for a lot of the population is difficult. So
Oh, yeah.
there may be some last minute shifting here and there.
Right.
But
Okay.
I'm thinking we'll stay around 80.
Okay. In your report too, and knowing what goes into putting something like this on, even the pre-part of it for the 3 days, have you already confirmed hotels and everything, or are you looking for help? Or?
The City of Laguna Hills is actually handling that portion of the co-hosting, and they have some rooms that have already been confirmed at one of the hotels there. I'm not sure if they'll need more help with that, but
Okay.
I will definitely ask them about that.
I will talk to you.
Yeah.
I presume they're going to use our sports park as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
There's a hotel very, very, very
Yeah,
close,
right underneath the. Yeah.
and he is very interested in being
Oh,
involved.
good to know.
Yeah.
Great.
I've
Yeah.
kind of talked to him about it. And
Oh, okay.
I'll talk to you, and then we'll
Okay.
maybe go from there.
That'd be
Because
great.
he is, with my kind of newfound love for, called it corporate partnerships and partnerships with the city, again, it can help either allocate
Oh,
parts of
definitely.
money out, or
Oh, yeah.
some of it for gratis and things like that. They can write it off on tax. Yeah, please keep us very, very in tune with this.
Oh, we will.
And
Actually,
from a volunteer standpoint, again,
moving forward, we would probably have an update, at each commission meeting if
Good.
there was something to update you on.
okay,
yeah.
cool. And the other thing, last but not least, is I promised you I would do was to give you kudos for the very unique skill that you possess of, as I called it, paying it forward in reverse. The illusion there being that Vicki was capable of working with other people backwards in time. With the one typo that went through 14 different people who looked at it, that they were actually doing part of this in December of this year and working back to where we are now. So congratulations, a unique
Thank you.
talent.
I will wear that with honor.
Thank you. Okay.
Anybody else before we move on? We pretty much covered. Thank you for the comments. February, the recreational report, February, to be presented.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To both recreation managers, Rob Gaylord and Vicki Blevin.
I just have actually one item for the month of February. The Seniors Walking Club, talking about our beautiful sports park. They are walking at the sports park, and I heard that we had our chair there for one of the walking days.
I did on the first opening session, but I've been queried what happened to me on the subsequent sessions. Not that I faded early. I suppose that was part of it. But I have committed to circle back
Good.
and re-enter the walking at 10:30 on Mondays.
Oh, good.
So I haven't disappeared totally. Thank you.
And that's actually the only item that I have for the rec report this month. So I will now have Rob will talk about his items.
Members of the commission, February was a somewhat slow month for us for activities, but two programs I'd like to highlight is the I Dig You Valentine preschool party. 25 preschoolers participated in the Valentine's-themed preschool class. The party featured songs, games, and crafts. And I just want you all to know that preschool classes are very popular at the sports park and the rec center. We can offer so much more for the preschool kids playing on the equipment and stuff like that. So they're selling out pretty rapidly. So that's always a good thing. The other program we have is it's kind of like a pre-teen teens activity. It's called Last Friday's Lounge Night at the Recreation Center and in the Teen Lounge. The program goes from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Rec Center. Costs $5 for pre-registration and $7 at the door. And it's a chance for the parents to go out at night on a Friday night. We do last Fridays, and it's from 6 to 10. And the parents kind of like it. and their kids also have a great time at the lounge night. Participants enjoy a pizza dinner, Nintendo and Wii games, music, table games, and a movie complete with popcorn and, of course, fun treats. So the program's going very well, and it's a really good program. And that's all I have for this month. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I left off a big one. This next Saturday, March 28th at El Toro Park is our annual Bunny Blast event. It goes from 11 to 3 o'clock p.m. And we've been averaging, like the last 2 years, like over 3,000 people. So it's really taken off. The park lends itself to a great atmosphere for the event. And it's growing every year, and I would encourage all of you to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to make a comment on the teen lounge. I'm always impressed with the consistency of attendance in the last 2 months, totaling daily attendance of 58 to 65, which I think is phenomenal, which only says how exciting in the next couple years down the road, where we're going to have a standalone teen center along with a senior center, a new city hall, a lot of exciting things coming up in the future. And the land has already been identified. It's just a matter of time before we'll see the results of all these efforts. But all the activities that I've seen, including the seniors, have been well participated in and very consistent on a monthly basis. So I did want to comment on, particularly on the teen lounge. And I'm seeing forecasts of increased attendance. Obviously, it's times calendar sensitive, depending on the time of year. Thank you. Anybody else for comments or questions?
Please.
Yes? Someone?
Some questions, because I always believe figures lie and liars figure, but there's some rationale besides just sometimes seasonality in some of them. First of all, it looks like, as Rob said, February was a slight light month. The benefit is there, you saved at least $10 in mailing costs on the packet, because normally it is 4 times as big. But if you look at some of the numbers in February, they were huge comparatively. And just a couple of just maybe questions that I should be able to answer myself but couldn't. Looking at the recreation class attendance, the adult dance that was from an NA not having happened to 150 in February, was that the senior dance, which is not a recreation thing? What was that? It's on, I'm sorry, page
Friday
8.
night dance that Ron's doing now?
Yeah, we're incorporating more. We're incorporating more dance programs. We have 2 dance rooms over there.
Right.
And I think that it's
Okay.
launched in February.
All right, so that makes sense, and from the rec class standpoint, under that. Okay, learned something. That's what I'm showing there. When you look at the emeritus classes, some of them really, really jumped. And is that just because of more availability? I know it was talked about at the Senior Advisory Board meeting as well, as these things are developing, but some of them like almost double, which is wonderful. I mean, it means there's some acceptance, but maybe when we see March, that may...
Beginning of new session,
Okay,
so you're going to see,
up, and then it
right.
typically will...
And actually, from a fitness background,
Yeah,
January and February in particular, I always used to say, I hope I see you in June.
gotcha. Okay, fully understood.
Yeah.
Understood. It was like you couldn't wait for it to be over. No, I understand. And then in the park reservations, there are 2 columns for each month. And I guess...
Saturday and Sunday.
Got it. Okay. So if I read it right, there were 10 January Saturday reservations and 5 Sunday.
Correct.
So that's, okay. Now
And
that-
you will see the park reservations numbers go up because we are now
Yeah.
utilizing Baker Ranch Park. And Brim gets already shown here, but Baker Ranch Park will now be shown.
And it's
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
and then the time of year, no.
Exactly.
I just, I kind of, I'm sure that we opened this up before, but it's just, I couldn't understand why there were 2 columns. I was thinking, well, does that mean this was what was reserved and this is what happened and how many people showed up? But then you had, in February, you had 10 reservations by that method and 11 people showing, so that didn't compute either.
Yeah.
So, and then last question with the Kids Factory. Last month, we talked about the 2 facilities that are huge in attendance, but also don't have the either inside facility or cover in case of inclement weather and close. Do we have any kind of an update on the ability of those?
My
sites?
error in not checking on that, but I will.
Okay, thank you, because I think, again, that's, between the 2 of them, that is like, a quarter of the number, just about.
And when I get the answer, I'll email.
All right, yeah, or just, yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate it. You got another awesome month, comes down to it.
Thank you. Anybody else for comments, questions? All right. I believe we're ready for the director's report, capital improvement update.
great. I think actually Tom stole my thunder here. I was going to talk about Village Pond Park, and we just reviewed another set of plans today. And as the new guy on board, it's really, we're obviously still working on it. It's going to be a beautiful park. I think the community is going to be really, really very happy with the final product. Other than that, under the heading of Director's Report, I just want to say it's so nice to be here. I feel very fortunate to have ended up in Lake Forest with our 29 parks. Obviously, one of the first things that I do is I do the park tour, and I haven't visited other cities where I see this much open space, this many beautifully manicured, well thought out parks, and it's just such an exciting time for me in my career to be here in Lake Forest and to work with this great staff and all of you. So I look forward to working together. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to have you here as well. And I see, Carol, we'll have to get a name sign.
Yes. One more thing.
I'm sure you will.
Anonymous.
I'm getting 3 big ones.
All right. Very well. Very well. We're now ready for the exciting portion of our meeting tonight, commission comments, which each commissioner of their choice will comment on any topic of their choice. no action will be taken, or any questions of the staff can be taken at this time. So I'm going to start at my extreme left with Commissioner Herron, and then work from the left to the right.
All right, thank you. Well, most of my comments are CPRS, which was wonderful. And I took full advantage of every day, almost every class, I think, and then some. So I started out, oh, by the way, when I went to the expo, note to Carol, I just had everybody scan it and they're going to send it here. Because I don't want to carry it, because it's a lot of paperwork. Oh, oh yeah, no, they've been doing it for a couple years, and some of them are like, oh, we don't have a scanner. I'll go, okay, well, here's my business cards, or thank you for that. And so, so they'll be getting things. And I turned every blue and red ticket in that I could to win another CPRS for next year. I turned in a lot. Anyway, so I started out Tuesday. We did the park ops tour. Started out the Folsom Zoo Sanctuary. Tiny little place, but you know, it's just charming as ever, and got to meet some really passionate people about the zoo. And I was surprised they were talking about how they're trying to get attendance. They're using Groupon to get attendance. And I thought, oh, that was interesting, and it's, you know, pretty much cheap to do that. Next, we went to Soil-Born Farms. It's an agriculture and education project. That was interesting, and the gentleman that runs that is top-notch, knows everything. So if we ever need any information on, like, community gardens, that's the guy to talk to. Then next we went to the Arcade Creek Park Preserve, and that's one of their new ones, and they put in a zip line, and that's fun. So I'm adding that to our wish list, okay? We want a zip line. I know. But no, it works for them, but I mean, everybody was getting on it and having a good time. And then also they talked about, they have lights, you know, because it's a new, that they're like LED, and then as you approach them, they become brighter, and then as you walk past, they slowly dim. And I thought, what a good idea, you know? So look into that for saving money. All right. I know. Well, I'm sure I know. But we're just adding to the wish list because I'm being optimistic. And next we saw Jerome Berry Park, and it's literally they had to put a water tower. That was the whole part of it. They had to build this water tower, and then they're trying to figure out how to work a park around this huge water tower. And instead of trying to disguise it, they light it up at night. It's got neon lights all around. It's like the talk of the town. Who would have thought? And then we also went to their Southside Community Garden, which is very interesting. And I talked to the gal that runs that, works for the city of Sacramento, and she sent me their rules and regulations. So we have a starting point if we ever get to that project. Okay, Wednesday, I went to the class. It's called Laugh for the Health of It. It was ways to reduce stress through laughter. And one of the ideas that they said, you know how the redneck, Jeff Foxworthy, like, you know you're a redneck? Well, we need to add, you know you're a Parks and Rec fellow because this and this. And it's kind of fun to put that together, you know, so it's something, it might be a nice little project, and you guys could have lots of good laughs about it, right? Yeah, I thought that was good. And of course, the general session, the speaker was great, expo was great, went to the foundations with Victor was there, and always good to learn about foundation stuff. Then I also went to class on 3 public-private partnership projects where the Gap stores partnered with San Francisco to refurbish their parks. And I thought, what a great project. And then in other cities talked about just some woman came and said, I want to help. You know, what can I do? What can I contribute to? And so it's great stories are out there of people wanting to help. So I thought that was very inspirational. Went to the welcome reception and the commissioner's reception. And they had an open forum for the commissioners and board members. I went to dynamic communication and outreach. They had a buzz session called World's Best Entry-Level Employees, and it was kind of interesting. It was the gal from San Clemente, Pam? Yes. And then I went to intergenerational programming, making your seniors young again. And a gentleman talked about, he has snag golf. It's like Velcro golf. And I thought, well, we might look at that one. And I went to the citizen advocates about legislative committees, and we had the CPRS, what do you call it, legislative guy was there. So that's interesting to get that. And we've got lots of things on that agenda there. Went to the Sacramento Mayor's reception, and then I was installed as secretary to the executive board of the California Association of Park and Rec Commissioners. Yay! And I went to their, obviously, award dinner. Friday, board meeting for California, and then creating a culture of doing the right thing. That was an interesting one. And then the closing session was Ruby Newhall-Legner, and she was fantastic. So that's all my, oh, and I'm passing this on to you. The theme was, of course, superheroes, and we all got one of these. So you have your own cape to wear whenever, so I will pass that along to you guys. I thought, yes. Yes, we had, yeah, it has Velcro, and yes, we had to wear it for the opening session. It really was, yes. A lot of us, all different colors. So, well, I don't know why. They should. Oh.
You get new shovels and tools.
Yeah. You don't get capes. I'm sorry. Oh, well. All right. And then also, I was asked by the board of the California Association of Park Commissioners if we could host a June 6th meeting. So I guess I'll have to coordinate that with Ron, and it'd be like from 10 till 3. And basically, they alternate. Southern California have a meeting, then they go up to Northern California. So anyway, so if that's okay with you guys, I'll get going on that. Also at CPRS, they were talking about, I know we're talking about a senior center, teen center, da-da-da-da. They're talking about more about doing an intergenerational building, because senior centers, nobody wants to be called a senior. No offense to anyone, but so, add that to the wish list of how we're going to do that one. And then, do we have an update on concerts in the park?
I have a brief update. I know we have 4 concerts, June, July, August. May, June, July, August. There we
Okay.
go. 3 of them are going to be at the sports park. We're leaving 1 at Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Do we know who's performing?
We do. For the big concert, I believe it's 10,000 Maniacs.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And I believe that's the concert that's going to be left at Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I don't know. That is the question, isn't it? It is.
Wow. Well, that's great.
I knew that too.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. You should be impressed I heard of them. Anyway, so thank you for that. That's great. So we're looking forward to that. And I know we've got a lot of things coming up. So I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I also attended CPRS. I wasn't there for the whole week, unfortunately, because of work. And the one thing I will say is my family all calls me Ron Swanson from the show Parks and Recs, and it's kind of true. As I was telling Loretta, everyone's really peppy there, and so it was kind of funny. So and I did get a cape. I didn't actually wear it, but I'll give it to Vicki. So, but I had a steak dinner. So, but it was good, and a couple of the classes I attended were fantastic. There was a lot on risk management, and and one of the things, and I kind of want to start looking into this. One of the big themes I saw was there's a lot more push towards, I don't know if you want to call them alternative activities or kind of X-game activities. So like a BMX track, or instead of not just a skate park, but and I do this, so I'm kind of familiar, but there's skateboards that are longboards, and so there's a company that makes a track that it's concrete that they put in. It's actually kind of neat, and so so I thought that was really interesting, because I think while we're still going to always have your basic park stuff, I think we're starting to see the generations coming up that grew up with kind of these X-game activities, and I think we'll see more and more of those. And so I collected a lot of cards, and Tom, I have some for you, actually, for some vendors. So and I saw friends from RJM, and they were excited, and I shared before, there was a great picture. So it was a very good event. And next year, it is going to be in Long Beach. And I briefly mentioned this to Scott. As valuable as it was for us to be there, I think it would be also just as valuable, maybe even more valuable, to send more staff if we can. And so I'm willing, I just think it would be very valuable. And so whatever we need to do to kind of push that through, I think, for example, Vicki would get way more out of it than Ron Swanson would, and so I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I really did, and I learned a lot. And it was my one big takeaway from it was we live in a really nice place, and I say that because I talked to folks from cities all over California, and that was kind of the neat part, was just meeting people from park departments from all over. And when I hear some of the horror stories that they're dealing with, I realize, oh my goodness, we live in a great place. We don't have some of the problems that they have, things that you wouldn't even think of in Lake Forest. And so I think that says a lot about the city staff. And so, it made me just kind of proud on the inside of what a great place we have and what we can grow into. And I'll still keep bugging Tom about lights in the batting cages. And Rob, I'll bug him about L screens in the batting cages as well, and so, but those are little things. Now this next one, and I hate to keep bringing up baseball things, but I think because I'm on the baseball field, I get approached constantly, and one of the things that came up, and actually Councilmember Robinson also talked to me about this, there's a big push, and I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, I just found this out today, the players for Little League in particular would like to use the scoreboards on the baseball fields. And I guess they're not being turned on for them, or I don't know anything about it, so I thought I would just ask. But I know that was something that the families are asking for, and so how do we get them to be able to put this? And the kids love to see that too.
It's going to happen. We just drafted a policy about deposits for the groups will put up, and they'll check out the controller.
Okay.
So it's going to happen.
And if we need to do training sessions on how to operate, I don't know what goes into it, because I know in the past, like at Heroes, each league had their own, like Pony had their own box, or Little League had their own box. But, it gets back to I want to control the parks and not have the leagues control the parks. I want it to be our equipment, not their equipment, that sort of thing. So so that's great. I just, because there was a rumor that they were starting a petition. I said, well, I just told these people, let me talk to these folks and we'll get it squared away. It's not a big deal. And so, because I think that's an easy fix. And so, yeah, 'cause I'm there, I'm at Heroes, and good gracious, the sports park 5 days a week, so I get approached quite a bit. And so, anyway, another completely different topic. On the gym, last time we talked about fees for using the gymnasium and for residents and non-residents. And I've been at sports parks, as I said, a lot, and so I talked to the staff, and I said, why is it? And then, someone pointed out to me, and a couple others kind of agreed, when they sign in to use the gym, I guess there's a sheet, and then they check resident. If they're a resident, it's a yes, I think. Is that right? I'm trying to recall. That was a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, what they said, it may be more residents using the gym. It's just that they're not checking the box, right? And so, and I don't know if I mentioned that to you. So I'm worried, and look, I do this for a living. I review data. And so I'm worried that the data we're going to get in June is going to come back and may not have the correct input. And so I don't know how we fix that. My personal feeling, I was thinking about this today, is that I think we're going to come to the same conclusion no matter what the data suggests, and that is that I would propose, and maybe we can put on one of our next agendas, that we look at a fee for non-residents, maybe starting in the summer, like a $5 fee or something like that to use the gym. And why I'd like to kind of push it now as opposed to waiting until June is I look back at when we talked about the fees for, what are we talking about, Teen Lounge and some of the other things, and it took us over 6 months to get on the City Council agenda. And so we missed this year, for example, on a few items that we had signed off on. And so I'd like to see if maybe we could push that up, because I'm not convinced the data is going to tell us anything we don't already know, and I'm not convinced that the data we get will be all that accurate. That's just kind of and I don't know if I need to get consensus to bring that back as an agenda item for discussion for us, or how we go about doing that, but I'd like to ask if we do that.
I have brought this up in the past.
Okay.
and I appreciate the input. I'd like to ask the staff to seriously consider coming back to the commission with input so we don't delay. Because originally, we were going to wait 6 months
Right.
to collect data. On the other hand, I expressed a concern, and since we're kind of blind in this area until we get all the statistical information to make sure it's accurate, I think it's something we should be looking at now rather than waiting, because I recall we missed that window of opportunity, knowing how the protocol procedures do take time to get on the agenda on the city council, and by the time we got to it, we missed that whole year.
We missed the school year, right?
And I don't want to have that happen again, because quite frankly, there's no reason, unless I'm missing something, why we can't start the process, if you would, through the community services staff to initiate a what-if scenario, because chances are we're going to find that we're going to be put into a position where we will have to look at that anyhow. And I would like to initiate thought discussion as soon as possible.
Let me, if it's okay with it, let me take a look at that, and I'll get some information.
Okay, that's all we would
Okay.
ask at this
That'd be
point.
great, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because we did meet on that in previous meetings, and it was, I think our original thought was, well, let's collect the data for 6 months and then take a look at it. But like I said, as I was kind of looking at it and realized we may not have accurate data, and the truth is, I think we kind of have an idea of what we want to do. At least I feel pretty strongly about it, and I just hate for it to. I know it's hard to get on the agenda for city council, and so I think I think you're right.
All right, well, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded by Commissioner Rosenberg. So I think it would be appropriate for us to vote on it, that we are going to, or we can do consensus.
Commissioner Scher? Hello, over here.
No.
Commissioner Scher? Yes, we'd really rather that Scott get back to you on this. This is something that's already on the work plan, and so I don't believe you need to take a consensus
Okay, well,
vote.
Commissioner
at this
Rosenberg
point.
withdraw a second? Yeah. All right, and the motion.
Okay, if you're going to bring it back, that's fine.
And then you'll bring it back, and it's already on the agenda, so that'd be fine.
Yeah, it's on the work plan. We don't have a specific date yet, but Scott will get back to
All
you.
right, very well. Thank you. We're satisfied with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
and last but not least, I'm sorry I'm taking a lot of time. I'm so happy to hear about the Tamara's Park situation, and Tom, great job. I mean, that's awesome, and I would be happy to attend those meetings if you wouldn't mind throwing me onto that invite. That would be great, and so I think that's a great thing and nicely done. To work with the community there, that's awesome. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Rojas?
Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to express my excitement for what our involvement with the upcoming Special Olympics. It's something that's very near and dear in our household. My wife has dedicated her life to working with special needs children. She's a special needs educator, so it's something that's at the forefront of my mind, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And I was really excited when I found out that Pittsburgh Park has a universally accessible playground. Yeah, it's the first thing my wife asked me about when I joined. I was like, I've been here 3 seconds, let me find out. So there you go. And so as we continue with the development of parks and see what's happening, maybe we could continue doing some work and research to see how we can continue to make future parks more inclusive of that very special population. And then also another thing that I've been personally involved with that I want to bring to the forefront is water conservation efforts. I'm very obsessed with following the drought and everything that's going on with that in the state, and I'm very involved in water politics and policy, especially locally and regionally. And when I got a tour of that amazing sports park, of course, the first thing I saw when I saw that giant soccer field was like, oh my God, water. So obviously I think it's a wonderful facility, but as we go forward with our designs, we're asking residents to start tearing out their turf. We're asking people to start putting in more drought-proof, California-friendly native plants. So I just want to, I'm excited to be part of the design going forward of several projects to see what we can do to emphasize the need for these kinds of things to be put in people's homes by leading by example.
Thank you. Commissioner Rosenberg?
Thank you. I think, first of all, in a way, echo comments that have been made formally from the dais, meeting minute item. Director Wasserman, welcome aboard. So, I think it's going to be a great ride, put it that way. Commissioner Sher, there are 16 witnesses in this room that heard you commit to the walking program, and we have ways to get a hold of all of them. So, okay, your word now is your bond. So I know you'll do it. I'm just kidding.
For the record, yes.
Yes, for the record, he's committed. Okay, Loretta, I think you ought to raffle that cape off. I saw the look in the eyes of the staff of saying, "Wow," So yeah, it's just you never know. Do that. Yeah, for sure. And what was your new name?
Ron Swanson.
Ross Swanson.
No, Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson. Obviously, I do not watch the show. So.
Jeff, I have to tell you, my hashtag is the real Leslie Nopes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll
Okay.
stop right there. Mr. Commissioner Swanson. Okay. Part of your commissioner comments were that there are things besides baseball, like X Games and all that. Okay, just so you don't forget that. All right. Just to recap some events, had the opportunity, attended to meet the mayor last month, which was, I can't remember how many of those we've had, but I want to say this was the best one, if nothing more because of the facility that we had it at the Grove, which again is an indication of what the city is becoming and has become right now with all kinds of different crown jewels and facilities that we can really, really be proud of. Plus, a very nice program, and it just lent itself. It was a good evening. Unfortunately, did not get to go to CPRS. Fully planned to go, but between my doctor and, of course, my commanding officer, who backs the doctor over me, had different ideas, so I spent some time recuperating from some outpatient surgery, but I plan to make up for it by going in September to NRPA in Vegas, because that's closer in Sacramento to go over there. And having been to an NRPA before, it makes CPRS kind of dwarfs it. It makes it look like the beginner show to a really, really great opportunity. So, and it's only a 3-day show, just to let people know. So, Victor, it's not 4; it's only 3. So add 2 more, right? And you can do it. But it's that one is really to me worthwhile going. I had an opportunity to attend last week the Senior Advisory Board meeting, and if you can convey again to Brenda some comments there, a great group, a very, very good group, especially, and thanks to this group for the newest member of that board. She is absolutely motivated, driven, and she's got a lot of great ideas and willing to work towards them. So I think that's really going to put a very positive jolt into that group, which is a great group to start out with, and they do some really nice things. Tom Tamrish, just like Commissioner Swanson, I would like to know about those meetings as well. We appreciate that, and just kind of keep our hands in it. Looking forward to obviously our leadership breakfast tomorrow. Kudos to the mayor for the Hawaiian theme, that you don't have to wear the choker and stuff like that, shirts with starch in them, all the good stuff. Bunny Blast obviously will be great. Hopefully we'll have a good day for it weather-wise, and we'll see if we can beat the records. The other thing I'd just like to mention, looking forward to the special needs dance on the 10th of April, and happy to see you're putting another one together with the Special Olympics. Just FYI, Diane and I have both volunteered to help with that, and I talked to Marilyn yesterday afternoon or today, I'm not sure. We're going to donate some stuff for the raffle prizes as well, too. That's just it's a real worthwhile occasion. Some things, if I could maybe throw towards staff. I have a penchant late at night to do website surfing instead of watching old movies or something like that on TV.
This is family rated,
Huh?
Family rated.
Yeah, I hear you. And came across something really kind of, which I thought was unique. It wasn't even an X game or that, but it was called foot golf. And foot golf, believe it or not, in the state of California, one of the few places foot golf is offered is at the Learning our little 9-hole pitch and putt over there. There is a website, www.gofootgolf.com, and that also highlights the Lake Forest course. There is a national website, www.afgl.us/, and then there's an article posted about foot golf in Wikipedia as well. The national site, it's not that robust yet, but it is growing. That was the interesting part. And the reason they attribute it, which kind of blew me away, to the growth of this is golf courses looking for an alternative because their business overall is dropping. And they were looking for something to attract other people to the course that was already in place. Again, my thought process, just very rudimentary, was could this be something we offer, quote, recreation classes and programs on a contract basis? No, and I know we have. And something where we could partner up to do it, which I think would be more pervasive if you did it under a city banner than, American, I never can remember the name of it, now offers something else. So, maybe a possibility to look at, for, again, something different. We've got the course in town. You need that part of it to do it as a, or to do it a league thing or team thing, and, on and on and on. Another possibility for sports park, use of the sports park. Again, having thrown that idea out to a few different businesses and gotten a pretty interesting type response, is for us maybe to develop a policy, a procedure, a reservation methodology for corporate, I'm going to call them corporate or company picnics. There are a fair amount of companies in town with 100 or more employees, definitively 10, 12, some companies with 500 or more. And the reaction was, the reason that they can't do it, or basically don't have gotten away from it or whatever, is a facility that has space and parking. And those are few and far between anywhere. This one's got both. So again, something else, and that goes along with this mania of mine, new mania, I guess you can call it, to tie the business community into the city, that we're all kind of one, benefit of the employees, lots of new homes, people move here, the city wins in the long run. Then another thing, and this came from a conversation with a professional associate of mine who also turned out is a P&R, or I think it may be called Community Services Commissioner, in another city in Southern Orange County. And we were talking about the teen groups. And they have taken, they're kind of like what we have, and they have kind of escalated it into a status that's very similar with the Senior Advisory Board. That these kids, and they have a very, very large number that want to be part of it. I guess it's grown in popularity. And they do all kinds of interesting things related to that whole age bracket as being kind of like a voice of them. It's more than just a social type of thing. I'm going to get together with him within hopefully the next couple of weeks and, jot down some notes. And, there wasn't a lot available on the web and things that would make sense to look at. But, again, I'll shoot that, and that might be worthwhile, talking about. Last but not least, on some topics, this month marks the second anniversary, if I can call it that, of what, Vicki, do you remember? Our Healthy City Initiative. Yes. And, yeah, the elephant does not forget, no. I think we've jumped through the hoops. I know we paid for the one registration for, and I know the department's doing the documentation of the other things in the programs, but somewhere along the way, and I know we're doing a new website, which would be great to have it, among a lot of other things on there, but I would just like to see us positioned that it's like flipping a switch as opposed to another delay. It's another great marketing tool for the city. And the cities that have it use it. Some of them use it a lot better, but some of them don't. So if I could strongly maybe ask and suggest that we kind of push that, if it needs the council, maybe if we can ask that that be agendized, because that to me is kind of a rubber stamp type thing.
You know what I'd like to do is that we just started talking about this today.
Okay.
We're gonna figure out how to move it forward,
Okay,
and then
great.
I'll bring more information to the commission.
Super.
Yeah. And Deborah and I have had conversations about this as well, so
Good.
it hasn't been forgotten.
Right. And since Deborah did come tonight, please come back. We like the audience. With the website, is there, and I know you've talked about it at council meetings and things like that, is there a timetable related to it?
Yes, our deadline, well, not deadline, but our goal to launch is late May. And so right now we're in we're just building pages at this point. We've finalized our design, and so now we're working on moving content and updating the content that needs to be updated.
Okay. So it's near future, very near future, which is great to hear. Just one sideline item with my involvement with our Marine Battalion, last but not least, and I want to thank the folks that stayed again through the duration. Ron, I want to thank you for last month coming by and having dinner down there at Buffalo Wild Wings with a few other people. Monday night, I'll give you a flyer before you go out. 23rd, it's at Biagio's, a little Italian place down by Lake Forest 1 in that shopping center. Good Italian food. They may make it. The family's only been there for 38 years in the same place, so they may have a good thing going. And again, with that, close my comments and thank you.
Very good. I, too, was at the Sacramento convention, and it certainly is an opportunity to network in an informal environment, as the three of us did very successfully. And we all had agendas for the educational sessions, and I want to comment on one that Commissioner Herron and myself were involved with, is on foundations. I brought this up our last meeting, and I've been doing quite a bit of research, and I want to share with you some of the input. We had the City of Sacramento Director of Community Services, Parks and Recreation, make a presentation, along with other cities in Orange County, which include the City of Anaheim, City of Long Beach, and other smaller cities who have been very successful with recognizing that there's no way public monies can fully support all of the needs of the community, that we must develop partnerships with the local community, with volunteer organizations, civic groups, and industry. And by doing a tax-exempt foundation, this has been found to be an excellent vehicle to include the community, to make contributions on a tax-exempt basis, and forming a board of directors that would be a cross-section of the community. We had a presentation in the City of Sacramento that showed how the forming of a foundation, although challenging, I mean, it's challenging and hard work to get the right mix within the board, of course, but at the same time, it serves as an opportunity to funnel tax-exempt funds to supplement programs for discretionary items that are no longer able to be budgeted through the city. And these will be special ticketed items that would support a variety of activities by approaching the foundation to undertake specific projects. But the whole concept is well received, and I'd like to ask staff to take a look and explore that, because we have enough references in the area, to come back to the commission and look at, if we were to go into this arena, what's involved, how do we approach it, under what structure would it take. I believe that you will find some very positive benefits to the community, particularly supplementing budgetary items that we are finding as a city and struggling to meet all the needs of the community because we have priorities and shortages of resources. And I think we can mobilize very effectively our community to get behind this concept and to solicit donations on a tax-exempt basis and find ways of marketing and involving inclusive people in this concept. And that came out of the workshop at Sacramento. And I've been actively looking at this for some time. But I do want to express, I believe, an interest for the staff to take a hard look at this. Any other comment on that? Loretta, you were in the session.
I was. It was very worthwhile, especially Dr. Bill Thomas from San Clemente does an excellent presentation because he has gone through it. He knows everything. He's jack of all trades on that. And I think it's something we want to consider. Now, my understanding is that we have one ready to go. It's on the shelf, waiting.
Oh,
Right.
well, that's even better. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're into it. Okay.
We're into it. We're ready.
Now, the other thing is yeah, we've had it on the shelf for a long time. And it has been to the council a couple of times.
Yeah, and it gets
And
rejected.
the decision, right, wrong, and indifferent was negatory on it.
sorry.
A couple of things. I've also heard Bill Thomas speak, and Dr. Thomas, I will say from him, is an excellent speaker. And I honestly think if he was out on the plains and he had a wagon load of snake oil, he'd do well. Did he share the actual numbers that were raised?
He did. I can't specifically remember the exact amounts, but it was significant.
Okay, because I heard him, and I'm trying to think, it was 2 or 3 years ago, probably 2, and I don't remember where it was, but he did not at the time, and he did offline kind of share them. Again, you're looking at 7-figure multiples sometimes, and the yield was 50,000 or things like that. So foundations can be good if there is really a need for them. Like if the city, painting a bleak picture, we needed a sports park. Okay, we were able to get the land, and beyond that, we were kind of destitute, and we had no meaningful, useful athletic facilities in the city. Okay, that can galvanize the community to go, and do that. But where you already have, and I'm just using that as one example, where you have a very robust facility base and things like that, you're going to have a lot of people that say, well, the city should be trying to accommodate that. The citizenry should not have to be, paying for it to give it then to the city, and we have no say over it. Plus, the other thing, whenever you get into this ball of wax, you have expenses. It's not a total pass-through. It has to be administered. It has to be accounted for. It has to be, lots of things that create an expense. So you take a certain percentage off the, from the gross to the net. So I would, I have no problem with, the staff looking at it and then, getting opinions, but it's not the catch-all for cities, I'm going to say like Lake Forest, with the budgetary position and stature that Lake Forest has, the fluid state of the economy of Lake Forest, and things like that. And, I really don't know if for something, let's say, even like our own sports park, if we got, let's say, $100,000, if that would really have been meaningful when you're looking at
And
35 million.
I don't mean to interrupt. I think what we have to be careful here is because this is not an agendized item, we have to be careful what we discuss right now. And so I think the point that our chairman's making is, can we ask staff to bring it up in another meeting and have a discussion?
I have no problem with that.
That would be a great idea.
Commissioner, Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is me over here again.
Sure. Thank you.
I'm sorry. As Loretta mentioned, there is a community foundation that has been set up. I think any activation of that commission, of that, entity would really need to be at the direction of the city council. So if this is something that the commission is interested in, I would suggest that you bring this up during the strategic planning workshop. That's really the place to raise this. It's not really a staff initiative at this point. So that would be my suggestion.
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense since we have already gone into this concept, but it's on the shelf, and obviously it would take direction from the city council. But it sounds like there's some foundation to get our teeth into it at the next strategic planning commission. Okay, very well. Then I think we can strive for that.
Okay, can I just add
Yes.
one more comment? When we were at the foundation educational session, they did mention that the city of Beverly Hills has a foundation. I think they have over $1 million they've raised. So
we shouldn't talk too much more about it.
Yeah, I think we can defer to an appropriate forum through the strategic planning and then go through the protocol through the city council. Okay. The other items I was particularly interested in sharing with you is, let me go back to my notes. I got all carried away here. The volunteer activities that are involving many of our commissioners who are active sports seniors as I am will certainly continue, and that gives us a grassroots feel for how things are, and we can get into the input from the variety of participants, for example, in the seniors that I go to the senior activities, which I enjoy, because I am a senior. I qualify. So I said, well, I'll just take advantage for my own individual enjoyment and at the same time try to contribute where I can. I was at the Valentine's lunch, and my wife and I did a little George Washington thing, and in costume, and I love history, so when I volunteer to conduct tours at the Heritage Hill Park, which is one of our assets that we do have joint county and city activities that are budgeted for, which, Scott, we certainly would extend an invitation for you to come through the park and get a feel to tour it, which I can conduct a tour for you at some future date. But you're welcome. I'm excited about having that in our own backyard. So with that in mind, I'm just excited to be in Sacramento and to be part of the state association, because we do pick up a lot of great input. And it's not because, well, someone else is doing it, we should do it, but it gives us ideas and start thinking along lines of how we can support the requirements and needs of our community on that. Very excited about the Special Olympics coming up. I'm just raring to try to decide how we can help. So with direction from staff, I'm sure we will know more about that. Thank you. No further input or comments. I call this meeting adjourned.